Yeah, you can't do that.
Just never show your hand. You know, that's one of the lessons you learn living in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Never call a lady of the night a hoe, a garden tool, if you will, and never, never tip your hand, man.
Kiko, put that headset on. Let's get rocking and rolling, baby.
I'm in it.
It's Friday. We here to win.
I'm locked in.
Happy Friday.
What's up?
January 12th. First off the mark episode of 2024. We made it.
Yes, we did.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you guys as well. Thanks for rocking with us.
Zivali.
Yes.
Finally made it.
We finally made it.
Finally made it. Where's Young Rue?
Where is he right now?
Yeah.
I was thinking about something this morning. Somebody asked me like how I start my day, right? And I was like, I don't want to get into that process right now. But I told them that affirmations are a big part of the day. So I figured it's a new year, right? We got this beautiful new backdrop.
Let's go.
Why don't I share an affirmation I wrote for everybody watching Off the Mark?
Let's do it.
So today is a blessing, right? I embrace the reality of the present as a precious gift that I will cherish, harness, and make the most of. Tomorrow is an idea, and so I choose to live it purposefully, virtuously, and confidently, discerning between being well off and well-being. And as the day unfolds, I embody fearlessness, determination, and an unwavering commitment stepping into my role as a leader, innovator, and visionary. I recognize the heroism in facing challenges head on, opting for courage over surrendering my powers to blame, complaint, or excuse. Insecurity, timidity, and the fear of rejection will not impair my productivity or hinder my ability to uplift, respect, and provide value to others. I will carve out moments for reflection, remain grounded in the present, and engage in actions that reflect mastery while staying true to my highest ideals. Today, I pledge to honor every commitment I make to myself, safeguard my optimism, nurture my best habits, and maintain the utmost discipline and unwavering focus, never mistaking busyness for true productivity. And should I need to rest, I will not view it as wasted time, understanding that world-class performance without honest recovery leads to the degradation of my native genius. And I vow not to let profound insights go to waste. I will take immediate action and bring them to life. I know that ideas without execution serve no purpose, and that transforming dreams into reality is an act of profound self-love. So on this day, I choose to be more courageous, cheerful, compassionate, and I acknowledge that greatness lies in empowering others to shine like a trillion watts. And when my time comes, what will matter most are the lives I've inspired, the kindnesses I've shared, and the generosity I've shown. Carpe diem.
Here. I wanted to stand up like they do in Parliament, like, you know, in Britain, and they stand up and start doing the applause and stuff like that. That's very well done, my man.
Did you write that?
I wrote that, yeah.
This morning, huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, let me share mine. I mean,
share yours.
Mine's not that.
Yeah, these are that's
how do you follow that?
You don't, but just to show you that this is why he sits in the middle. I'm off the mark, off to the side.
Okay.
Because he's the wordsmith. Like, what's that? I'm the DJ, he's the rapper.
I love that, man.
Mine is literally like, on my tombstone, I don't want Mark was here to make everyone happy. Fuck that. Mark was here to make himself happy. And in that, I was more useful for everybody else. Yeah. So, but there is a premise behind that. Yeah. And that goes back to Adam Smith's
no doubt
enlightened self-interest, in which he's talking about the butcher. The butcher does not prepare the meat for you to eat. Like, that is not his sole purpose. It's for him to sell the meat to you so he can then take what you're buying so then he could buy some food to eat. But that's how the world goes around. That's capitalism at its finest. So
no doubt.
Put capitalism on my ass, stamp it on it, and then put me on my tombstone. I'm out. Deuces.
I love that.
Carpe diem.
You know what I mean? Adam Smith, we got a Scottish economist philosopher drop.
Damn.
We're 5 minutes in, baby.
Damn.
Yeah, man. We got a fucking Maya Angelou's son over here fucking dropping affirmations, and we got a Scottish economist.
I got one for you too.
Let's do it. We can't leave out YFK.
Yeah, man.
Okay, let's do it.
So this one hit me while I was with my son.
Okay.
And I was reading this to him. Today, let me start over. Today, you fucked it up. Hold up. I'll get this right. You'll laugh after I get it done. Today, you are. Fuck, I can't even read this shit. Hold up.
This is awesome. That's
the Mark Harris effect, right?
Yeah,
there.
man. You got to stutter in this shit like fucking Joe remix.
Hold up, because I wrote it wrong. Hold up, I can edit all this shit out. Don't worry.
Today
Today you are you, and that's truer than true. No one in this world is more youer than you.
I love that.
That's Dr. Seuss.
I was gonna say that's some Dr. Seuss shit.
Yeah. Yo, I read that to my son, and I was like about to cry for some reason. I was like, "What is going on?" Like I'm just reading him a bedtime story.
He's looking at you like, "This dude's crazy."
It hits like that sometimes, man.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what do we got going on this week, fellas?
Man, there's a lot of stuff happening just all over the world, but I think it's like, it's kind of like Groundhog's Day, where you see the same shit kind of happen over and over again,
repackaged and repurposed.
Yeah, man. And, it's like, whether you want to talk about like fake dudes, whether you want to talk about golden rule, whether you want to talk about everybody's got their cup, but they ain't chipped in, whether you want to talk about California. Okay, so California's crazy, man. And so I hope, look, man, follow your own political aspirations, but, man, I'm not telling people how to vote. But, man, I hope Gavin Newsom does not become, like something happens to Biden and Gavin Newsom runs and then he becomes president. That could be worse than Trump. And let me give you an example of what's going on in California.
Okay.
Okay, so a business is measured by its profit and loss statement.
Yep.
You make money, you stay in business. You lose money, you're out of business. Pretty simple. So California currently has a $68 billion deficit, meaning they spend more than what they take in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now they got this new wealth tax. Okay, coming out, and so I'm going to spare everybody the gory details. But basically, the thing that caught my eye was this, and it reminded me of the song "Hotel California" by the Eagles, where Don Henley says, you can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave.
That's right. And
so one of the articles attached to this tax is even if you move, there's a time frame which in the period that you move that you still have to pay California tax, even if you moved, say, to Nevada, got a driver's license, got a registration, changed your voting records, got a new residence, working out of Nevada. They still can tax you out of California. We don't need that, right?
Can they do that?
Yeah, as a California resident. So I don't know all the details in terms of like the particular type of wealth. Like, I don't know if it's just passive income, active income, but yeah, they can do that because they are worse than the federal government in terms of like what I've seen in my experience and being a tax practitioner and how aggressively they are when they go after like any balances that you owe them. They will do an automatic draft from your bank account without telling you. They don't send you a letter or nothing. They do not care. They want their money. They want to spend your money.
Yeah.
They want you to pay your money. So, and the more things change, the more they stay the same in terms of California with tax. And so, Nevada's obviously getting all the runoff of these tax implications from California. I mean, you can see it, right? I mean, so many more cars in Nevada now or in Vegas, like with California license plate. It's driving up our rent. It's driving up our home prices, right? It's crowding our streets. The freeways are a lot more crowded. So we're actually, getting a lot of runoff from that. So
yeah, on the dark desert highway.
cool wind in my hair. Love that song. That's a great song. But yeah, man, it reminded me of that. Said you could check in anytime you like, but you could never leave. And now it's like literally that is playing out. And that's like 50 years later after that song came out,
It's crazy.
So yeah, so they're really just trying to make it punitive, right? Oh, so if you want to leave, you're still going to have to pay tax here, right? So it's, anyways, I don't want to bore people with tax, but if you guys live in California, I feel for you. Just vote for a new governor.
There's a lot of people that listen to our podcast
party.
from like California.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look at the analytics. So yeah, this pertains to them. But I still can't see how they can enforce that to another state. Just crazy.
Well, they could probably attach it to your wealth and depending on where your wealth derived from, right? And then, I'd have to go actually into the articles of like the California legislature and read the actual law itself. Yeah. This is kind of like a general rule that I was reading just in the Wall Street Journal the other day. I'm not trying to like drop what I read, just kind of give you guys a reference in case you want to fact check me.
Yeah.
You know, just go to the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal and find out, you know, read about the wealth tax that California is invoking there.
$68 billion deficit. They got to figure it out some way.
Yeah, and that's from having a deficit. That was from having actually, they were flush with cash post-COVID. So what did they do with the money?
Yeah, who knows?
Right? If you were a business, they would close your doors, right? So I don't know how these
politicians... maybe their policies like drove on like a lot of their big businesses over to like...
Well, you know what it is? Part of it is like, you know, and look, I don't know where people's stance on immigration. And, you know, I'm a humanitarian first and foremost, but I'm American first and foremost, and I do believe in being a humanitarian, but, you know, they're giving free insurance. Well, it's not free. Like the taxpayers of California are paying for it for undocumented workers, for undocumented immigrants. So if you just make it to California, you get insurance.
Just now, though, that's a recent thing.
It's pretty, on the book for a couple of years now. So it's like, so it's like, imagine you're working there.
Yeah.
You're a resident of California, been a resident of California for however long you've been there. Say you can't get insurance.
Yeah, that happens.
But they're going to give insurance to somebody that, you know, fled Mexico or some other region of Latin America, South America. And as soon as they cross in, they get amnesty status. Bam, they get insurance.
That's crazy. Because that bronze plan for like a family of 4 ain't cheap, bro.
No, man. I mean, I'll just tell you, individual insurance here in Nevada isn't cheap. I can't imagine what it's like in California.
Wow.
You know, so.
That's crazy, man. A lot of foolishness going on.
Yeah, so, you know, tax, we don't have a tax policy. We have tax politics here in America. It's been weaponized, right? And they use it. And it's going to happen again with this next election, you know? And so I'm kind of torn because I got to serve the lesser of two evils, but then I also got food I got to put on the table where it's like, you know, the difference between the Trump tax plan and the Biden tax plan is $6 trillion. That's the difference between the two plans, $6 trillion. So, you know, I always say vote with your wallet.
Yeah.
You know, you can't control social issues. You can't control who sleeps with who. You can't control who gets an abortion, right? You can't control who you worship. None of that stuff matters. With the first and the primary thing is putting food on the table, being able to like pay for the bills, keeping the lights on, as Harris always says.
Yeah, man.
And so you can read Dr. Seuss stories to your son at night.
Yeah, and maybe get like the silver.
Yeah, and
insurance
you hope that you can wait up and get the silver plan.
Like maybe upgrade to that.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Oh man, you know what I saw on the way over here?
What's up?
I saw a lady smoking a cigarette at the Chevron gas station while she was pumping gas.
Fuck. That's crazy, man.
She looked like the type of person who has like a Dr. Pepper and a beef stick with cheese.
My God. I saw a woman smoking.
Wow, smoking a cigarette while she's pumping gas.
And nobody seemingly had a problem with it because that person was on his phone. This person was on his phone. That person that's supposed to be helping you check out was on their phone. Like,
but you know, even if they weren't, there's like this.
Who does that?
There's this rule in psychology, like where if you don't see anybody do anything, you're more apt not to do anything, and it's like has the influence of the crowd. There's actual a technical psychological name for that, where like you just kind of like fit in with the crowd. They've had like instances where somebody's being murdered in the street, and because nobody's doing anything about it, no one's calling the cops, no one's stepping in, no one's intervening because everybody's waiting for the first person to do it before they do something. There's actual term for that.
They're out there with their phone trying to record it.
Yeah, absolutely. Or just watching, just viewing from their windows and stuff like that.
Conforming.
Yeah. So
like
but that's crazy that you know, that shit, she could have blew up the whole goddamn gas station.
The whole block.
Everybody could have went up.
Including me at the red light.
I saw a woman smoking while she was pregnant.
Yeah, I don't think that's as bad as smoking at a gas station.
Because that affects more people. Right.
You're not. I mean,
no, that's true. It's like if you kill you and your baby, that's different than fucking taking out a whole neighborhood, right?
The whole block.
I've never seen that in my life. 39 years. Somebody actively smoking a cigarette while pumping gas.
She just don't give a fuck,
or she just dumb and just doesn't even think.
Foolishness.
Can't even comprehend what she's doing. Man.
Was it
no
Daisy
sense of
Duck?
awareness.
Oh, it wasn't her, man.
It's a good drop. Love me some Daisy Duck.
Yeah, that we kind of like broke the internet with that one, man. There was a lot of back and forth.
I think you have to
topic.
Yeah. I think you have to reintroduce yourself. I was giving Mark a lot of Harris, and now we see his true government self.
Yeah.
Then you reintroduce yourself. Like, my name is Ho.
H to the O-V.
Yeah, no glasses, no hat. He came in.
Yeah, it's a new year, you know.
Yeah.
It's freezing outside.
I wanted him to keep the hose on the toes, so
you want me to, you think it's best that I keep the hat and the glasses?
Well, they know who you are now.
Yeah, it's important though.
Yeah.
That they know that.
Yeah. You know, you're a good looking cat, so we need a little sexual swag on the show so we can get a few more followers. So you guys tell us, how do you want Harris to come in the next time? What do you want him wearing?
Oh, don't do my guy like that. Come on, man.
Let's figure it out.
Coming in a fucking banana hammock. Like, what do you want? Loincloth?
Yeah, I'm down with the get down, man.
Shares and likes. Come on, whatever you got to do.
Whatever works, man.
All right.
I mean, I had to wear the banana hammock for most of my college career. I was a swimmer.
Oh.
So it's not a big deal to me. That was my jam.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's up, Weezy?
I was just imagining him being a swimmer. I was like, what?
That trips everybody out, huh?
What?
Yeah, that's the
Damn.
one. My concept,
look,
this was my theory behind swim. So first off, like football was my sport, right?
Yeah.
That was the sport that I played, and I played, since I was, in Pop Warner, and I was so set on becoming an NFL player, and that was it, right? And so when you're playing football and you have off season, most people in high school, their off season was track and field, right? But I tried out for track and field, and I'm like, all we do is run, which is ironic because now all I do is run, right? That's a whole nother thing.
Right.
But at the time, I thought that was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to be able to get better for football just running?
I just got to know one thing.
What?
Who was she?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't even that. It wasn't even that. It was. I said.
Okay, I need to know another thing. Did you dominate that shit?
I did. But then there was an accident that happened, and then I was out. But that's another story. So my theory was instead.
Your pain came out.
No, instead of being with a bunch of dudes I'm playing football with, running track and field, I could just be hanging out with half naked girls. 2 hours before school and 2 hours after school.
I like it.
I mean, it was a no-brainer. It really was a no-brainer.
That's some Cat Williams
No pun
shit.
intended?
Hey, it was a no-brainer, man.
No-brainer?
And so...
You sure it was a no-brainer?
It was a no-brainer, man.
Hey, that's funny. That's some Cat Williams shit when he was like, I just prefer the company of women.
It's the truth, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get 11 million hits in one day like Cat.
And so I was really good at it, and that's the end of that story.
Well, no, I mean, and look, You're a good-looking dude. You played the sports. It's kept you trim. It's something that you've adopted in your adult life. And so, you don't have problems with the other sex, we'll say that, right? In terms of, like, attraction, because you take care of yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? All three of us, take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's other reasons why women would want to be with you, right? It's not just the physical looks, but that's the bait, right? Someone has to look at you and be like, oh, that's an attractive person.
I think it starts there. Yeah.
It starts there, right?
Yeah.
So I was talking to Luis this morning about this concept that I thought of while I was working out, because I was watching this dude across from me, and he was just doing like some tricep extensions, right?
He wasn't really all the way extending though?
No, like T-Rex style.
What do you mean? You just do a demonstration. You were like...
He did the
he was like this, like more. Yeah.
Shake weight?
Yeah, man.
Maybe he wasn't fully getting
Maybe he was doing it so he could do some other stuff later. He's working on that wrist action so he could work on that wrist action.
He wasn't going through the full muscle action. He was just hitting
the full range.
Yeah.
No pump.
So I was thinking to myself, because, I do this. I always start with my sprint. I get a good sweat on, and then I immediately go to my abs after that, right? Okay. And I was thinking to myself, like, this guy needs to be doing what I'm doing, right? He needs to be like losing some weight, because I'm like, if you're a bigger dude, man, like, what are the economics of a blowjob? like
how much would it cost compared to
how much would you have to pay a chick to give you a blowjob
compared to someone who's fit?
So say a girl looks at us three, we're all pretty fit, we all got slim stomachs. I've never paid for a blowjob. Have you ever paid for a blowjob? And I thought about Donald Sterling, because he was paying, what was her name? Like $800 for a blowjob every pop, right?
Start with a V or something like that.
Yeah. So I was looking at this guy and I'm like, bro, he's probably like fiending probably after like 60, 70, 80% of the chicks in the gym that are probably all out of his league. right? And I was thinking to myself, how much would he have to spend? How much would he have to pay somebody to give him a blowjob versus us getting a blowjob where they would just do it for free? Like, it's a lot cheaper just to get in shape.
You're like, you got to pay me.
Yeah. Or you just like Mace, true pimp, never spend no dough on the booty.
Nah.
Right?
But what if he's in the guys?
That's a different story, bro. I don't know about that.
Let me tell you a story about that.
I don't roll like that. So, I mean, if you're an overweight guy, man, I'm just like...
What? Heavy D was overweight. He was an overweight lover.
But what's different with Heavy D is that he was a star. We're talking about so the girls are gonna give him a blowjob because they're gonna try to weigh up off of him. No pun intended on the weight.
That's true.
Right?
Heavy D was
But I'm saying like your average Joe, I mean, I don't consider us average Joes, but in terms of like we're not like celebrity status, right? Mm-hmm. So it's
local celebrity,
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we're able to attract women without being celebrities. Mm-hmm. And more than likely, you know, I've been pretty fortunate in my sexual encounters with particular acts that have been performed. And like I said, I've never spent money on
the economics.
Yeah. It's all about the economics, man.
That's great.
Damn.
The economics of
a blowjob.
Okay.
Bro, I got hit on by this one gay dude at the gym. But I gotta say, it was like the smoothest hit on. It was like he was super subtle about it.
Okay.
Because you know that new trainer that just got hired? He looked like Zangief. He do look just be like
that big buff guy. Yeah.
And he's just always flexing. He's just like everywhere flexing.
100%.
Do it all the time.
He was invisible lat syndrome.
Bro, he's so awkward. He's just like chilling next to me by the T-bar row and shit. And he's like giving me pointers and shit.
Nice.
I'm like, oh, okay. So I was trying to be open-minded and like, you know, kind of like whatever, you know. So I did it. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I appreciate that and stuff. So next day, these gay dudes were there and they're like, hey, did that trainer just like try to correct your form? And I'm like, yeah, you know, it actually helped out, you know what I mean? But, you know, now that I think about it, my neck's kind of fucked up, you know? And it's like, and he hit me with this shit, bro. He was like, oh, dude, you got like the best body. I don't know why he would even do that. You got like the best form, and walked away. I was just like, God damn.
It's them legs.
Hey,
is that what it is?
Yeah, man.
I was just like, God damn. Does that count more than getting hit on by a girl? Because like, he was there with his partner.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
I saw them talking to you today.
Yeah. Like, this dude's taking a major risk knowing I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, damn, I'll take that as like double.
Hey, man, sometimes the fun is like turning a brother out.
That's crazy.
The challenge, right? It's the challenge. The tire the booty.
Hey, man.
Damn. That dude was bold for doing that.
Right.
I'll just say that.
You guys have way too much fun in your AM gym sessions.
Dude, we got to.
You guys, it's like a breeding ground for all of
bacteria.
You guys saw. You saw like when you saw me hopped up on coffee that one week.
That was great.
Just, you know, like that's me at the gym though.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, we were just going back and forth on that thread, and then you sent me that. Oh man, what's his name? Where he's on the skit with the coffee.
The skit with the coffee.
The one that you sent me on. You sent me to on Instagram. What's the name of that comedian? What's the name of that comedian who was drinking coffee? He was like, "This is you do pray in the morning on coffee."
I can't remember.
But anyways, that's me in the morning on coffee, and then I'm working out, and everything's just
what
fucking
were you
flying
talking
around.
about?
Woo!
You're going crazy on something.
Yeah.
Oh no, we were just talking about. Oh, this was Sunday morning. We were talking about just the what we wanted you to post.
Oh, right.
The description of the show,
our bio and stuff.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I was just on.
It's constantly changing, and you're like, we gotta have strippers in there. We gotta have neon.
Some scattered ass.
You gotta have all that.
Yeah, man. That's what it was. I just can't remember the name of that comedian though.
Now it's all coming back. I don't remember the comedian either. It's way too early in the morning.
Yeah, we do have a good time though. The gym. Look, man, that's the best way to start the day. I nothing worse than when someone comes to me and they're like, you know, leaving the gym, like, man, I'm glad that's over with. Yeah, and I'm like, so then I extrapolate that out, and I'm like, man, you got a fucked up life.
Damn.
No, think about it. Please do think about it. Like, you're probably one of those people that just you look forward to weekends. And so what happens when you look forward to weekends? How many days of the week are you actually enjoying? 2 out of 5.
That's not good.
It's not good. You're unhappy. You're miserable, right?
It's not good.
You dread Monday because you're not happy. You know, so why would you want to spend your time, like an inkling of your finite time, just being miserable or, you know, desiring a moment? I think, what was it Buddha that said, like, desire leads to suffering.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you're in a moment that you're currently living in that you don't want to be in. It baffles my mind. But part of it is I was that guy, working a job I didn't want to work, dreading the week, Do
you empathize with those guys a little bit more because of that?
I understand where they're coming from, but I also know that you can correct your behavior because I've corrected my behavior and it was, just done over the course of time. But there's, they say you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So
no doubt, man. I
just look at it like me and Weezer were talking about before you came about how I approach time and how I approach my meetings. And he was asking me what's your close rate on your meetings, on your sales? And that's 100%.
Who asked you that? The guy asked you that?
Weezy asked me this.
Okay.
And I said, but the reason why that is because I do a discovery call with the person first.
I like that.
Just 15, 20 minutes because we may not jive.
Yeah.
You may not like the way I talk because I'm not changing the way I talk.
Yeah.
Right?
I like that.
You may not like the way I look. It could be a whole host of things. Like when you meet me in that moment, it could be like a bad date and you're just trying to get the fuck out. Now you've wasted my time and you've wasted my money.
I like that.
Yeah.
So this way, we just meet each other. We talk. There's no strings attached. There's no pressure. And if we agree to a more comprehensive meeting where we can talk about what you have going on, how I can help, and now I can really kind of get involved, my close ratio is 100%. Then it's just a matter of how many services am I able to get you to sign on for.
Sure.
Just because the concept of time and reducing the friction that I have with time is crucial because we don't have a lot of time. And the worst thing that people do, I think we talked about this last time when you talked about New Year's resolution, is the way people just piss time away and just take for granted and are so cavalier about, oh, I'll do this tomorrow. Oh, I'll do this next week. Yeah. No, you got to do that shit now.
Right.
It's like a crack addict, man. You got to go Maripuki.
Yeah.
No, dude, you got to quit fucking cold turkey. You can't just be fucking every day trying to reduce your dosage. That shit don't work.
Yeah.
So
that approach doesn't work.
Yeah. So, I don't know why people are just running around.
Well, that's the reason is that people have this this false notion that there is a forever in tomorrow or in the next hour. And
well, you were telling them about the guy about KPMG.
Yeah.
Right. And you were saying Chasing Daylight.
Eugene O'Kelly.
You were talking about how he had X amount of time.
Yeah.
And he lived more in that time than he did the previous 5 years, right?
Yeah. 3 months was more than he lived in 5 years.
Every day we're dying.
Yep.
And we just say you're born to die. That's the paradox, right?
Mm-hmm.
So clock is ticking, no excuses. You may not even have 3 months like that guy had.
That's what I'm saying.
Think about all the young, they said the good die young. Think about all those people who died, like Kobe at 40. John Lennon at what? In his 40s. We talked about Martin Luther King at 39. You talk about Kurt Cobain in his 20s, like Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix. You take about all these people, right?
I was just thinking
where they're just living like the best life. One day they're here, one day they're gone. So the fact that you take that for granted and you think that tomorrow is just going to be here, that's what they call being a turkey. Are you
jive ass turkey?
Jive ass turkey. No, there's this thing called the turkey problem, and it has to do with the black swan.
Okay.
And so Nassim Taleb uses the turkey as the example to explain the black swan and how you might look at the previous 1,000 days and think that that's going to happen the next day.
Yeah, it's true.
So he talks about a turkey being fed for 1,000 days.
Mm.
And the turkey on day 1,001 thinks he's going to get fed.
Mm-hmm.
Whack.
Is that Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's great.
Right?
That's the truth.
Don't be the turkey.
Nah, that's the truth.
Because you don't know.
So
you shouldn't take it for granted.
I was thinking about that last night, actually. And I watched Lady Who Sings the Blues with Mom after dinner. And it's a classic movie about Billie Holiday, right? And her, her rise and her tragic fall. And I was thinking by the end of the movie, man, she was so young when she passed away, which led me to think, what other artists, and I was like, well, Aaliyah, she died at 22.
Oh yeah, a tragic car accident, right? Wasn't it?
No, that was a plane. Her
plane
crashed.
You're right. Yes, I was thinking
Lisa
Left Eye was a car accident. Yeah,
she's on that list, right? Biggie was 23, right?
Tupac
24, Tupac 25, right? Tammy Terrell 24, Otis Redding 26, right? Jimi Hendrix, 27, right?
My man Bon Scott from AC/DC, he like drunk himself to death in a London hotel room, man. He was like 30 years old.
Sam Cooke, 33. Like,
Sam Cooke
got smoked in front of the motel.
Cooke. Marvin Gaye got killed by his father.
Man, he went to sleep and didn't wake up.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like these people were like on the precipice of their own greatness, right? Thinking that there was a tomorrow and there wasn't. So that's partly why our tagline is think about it and go get it before you get got.
Don't be the turkey and get got.
Don't be, because, these moments are fleeting. Tomorrow is not promised. Live for the moment. Live for the now, right? Exude gratitude. Live your purpose. Chase your personal legend. Don't be dismayed by the naysayers and the haters. Just go do you.
But you know what? Treat people how you want to be treated. I think we talked about this in a prior episode. I talked about the silver rule,
platinum rule.
No, silver rule. Yeah. Silver rule was, don't do to others what you don't want done to you. So, I run into this with certain people who okay, so for instance, I have a client that, he thinks that the money that he pays you is more important than the time that you provide him. Mm. But then where he contradicts himself is he thinks his time is more important because he pays you.
Yeah, walking contradiction.
And I'm just like, you treat people bad. And I watch this guy's staff, and he has like 3 or 4 different companies, and his turnover rate is about 80% every year. And he can't wonder why these companies don't make money. And I'm like, because you treat people transactionally, right? And when you treat people transactionally, we talked about this. If you're a guy, you have a bunch of money, and if you're only attracting women that are with you for your money, you're only as good as the next guy that's got money, right? Man. That's as shallow as that gets, man. So just treat people better, or don't treat people bad because you won't want to be treated bad in return. I mean, it's very simple shit, man, that people violate on a day-to-day basis or go out of their way. Man, I'm rolling out a Lifetime last Sunday. Got my vest on, I'm sweating, I'm just hyped up. Just finished my workout. And this dude, he's walking out with his wife. Now I'm holding the door for him. Okay? He's overweight. He's got a beanie on, a big old jacket. I'm a 50-year-old man. I got a 25-year-old daughter. I own my own company.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker's like, hey, man, don't you think you need to put a jacket on? You're going to catch pneumonia. And I'm thinking to myself, motherfucker, you should be doing what I'm doing because you're going to fucking get a heart attack, you fat motherfucker.
You with Stephen A on him?
Man, I wish I would have said that to him, because, but my point was like,
I think you should start letting some of that out.
My problem is that's such a small,
I don't care.
I know I should, right?
No, I think you got, sometimes people need some act right.
No, you're right. One of my brothers said that a long time ago. He said
that's the impetus to get somebody to change for the better.
You're right.
Or sometimes that's the impetus for a person to know, I can't be saying this to people just on the whim.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what would possess, like, I would never say that to somebody, especially a grown man. Yeah. Like, that grown man knows what he's doing.
Hey, man, I'm not above hitting people with some act right.
I love that.
All day, every single day, if I have to, right? Like, I'll go out of my way to do that.
But I'm thinking, like, man, this is another example.
Because you're helping them out.
That's true.
I just think it's important. Like, for me, it's like
that's just holding people accountable.
It's like pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, right? Is how that old tale goes. And for me to like be thinking about this incessantly beyond like that actual moment is doing me a disservice.
Right. Well, see, I think about Tombstone and fucking Fred White when he got smoked by Curly Bill.
Oh yeah, that was a good part.
And Curly Bill's doing that opium and he's out in the street, he shooting the gun and shit. And they come in, they're like, someone needs to stop Curly Bill. And Fred kind of looks around. He's really hesitant. And Wyatt's like, man, just let it rest. He's like, just let it rest. And Fred's like, no, I got to go take care of this. You know what happened to Fred White? He got fucking smoked.
That's how it happens though, man.
So I'm like taking the Wyatt or Fred White precautionary principle. I'm just, I'm not going to return like shrapnel with that guy. But my point is like, you mind your own business, man. Like, if anything, you should be taking notes. Like, you're gonna die way before me if it turns into just who's healthier for the long run. You know what I mean? But mind your own business, man. Be a dude. Like, just so many fake dudes just running around. You remember that skit by Adele Givens, Fake Bitches?
How's that go?
Man, she used to talk about fake. She'd be like, "Fake bitch." But it used to be on HBO.
Funny.
What was that goddamn comedy special? She used to come on HBO all the time.
Yeah,
no, goddamn, man.
It's just like I thought it was just
that was like when Chris Tucker first emerged and Martin Lawrence was coming out. Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah. Oh, that she was on that.
She was on Def Comedy Jam, and she was talking about just fake bitches, hairs, nails. Just people, the way they were acting, what they were saying, when they got around certain people, and she would always end it with fake bitch. So, I mean, like now it's like with the way society's changing, we just got dudes that are being fake bitch. They want all the glory. They don't want to accept things when they go bad. They want to butt in and tell you what to do and what not to do, but at the same time, they ain't doing it themselves. They're pulling up the britches, puffing their chest out, but no accountability. They're saying one thing, doing the other. Like they're not living to their.
Well, that's why you got to hit them with some act right, man.
No, that's where I think.
When we're kids, we're taught our 1, 2, 3s and our ABCs, but we're not correctly taught about the game of black and white, and we learn about conflict, and it's black and white, but it should be polarity, right? The difference is that poles are opposites, but they go together. We need that contrast. Sometimes you need a little bit of that to make a person come back down to earth and say, you know what, I'm living in a way that is not to my highest and best self.
See, if I would have channeled my inner Mark Harris, like especially coming out of the gym, because I'm pretty hyped up. So I know myself, right? What's that old Shakespeare quote? To thyself be true.
Yeah, man.
So I know, like, if I say something, it's going to come out wrong. It's going to come out heated, or it's going to lead to something probably a little more than, anybody wants.
But I think that's, first go around, so what? Like the next opportunity, you get a little bit better.
See, my problem is like
a little bit better.
I'm using that workspace out of lifetime now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. So it's like, I gotta walk that thin line, right?
I think that's probably like a more of a Dupre construct than it is like a universal law. I'm just saying.
No, I say that's fair.
The next time you feel like an inclination, like welling up to where you need to say something to somebody, I would just
get it out.
Say it.
Okay.
And trust yourself enough to know that the filter from up here to out of here is going to be polished in a way that helps a person understand, hey, man, you kind of committed a little bit of a sin. I just
Harris is channeling, he don't even know he's channeling his inner Obi-Wan Kenobi, where, in the first Star Wars, where Luke Skywalker has the blast shield.
Okay.
He has a computer up, right? He has to blow up the Death Star.
Oh, yeah.
And Luke's flying, he's in the trench doing his thing, and then he hears a voice, he's like, Luke, let go.
Yeah, man.
That's Harris telling me.
I'm telling you, man.
Dupre construct.
Yeah, man.
Let go.
Next thing I know, I'll be walking out the gym.
Weezy's gonna
Dupre is gonna be scrapping with
No. Before I get into a scrap, you're gonna come flying in like Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon and take care of business for me.
Yeah, man.
Hell no, I'm gonna be chilling. I'm like, bro, I done told you in the podcast. You need to chill with that shit. You let that motherfucker go.
You gotta get it out.
But if people just minded their business. Because I would say, like, when we're at the gym, right, man, aside me just messing with you, man, I don't mess with anybody.
Yeah.
I go to my own little workstation, man, do my workout, get that out, right? Just like you do your thing. I don't really see you, like, bothering, pestering people unless you know them. It just baffles the mind that what people, take it upon themselves, right? So, like, whatever this guy's paradigm was, like, I got to imagine I'm not the first grown man in public that he probably tried to correct. And to your point, he probably needs to be corrected.
Yeah. Yeah. I like I said, it's important to, spread the act right, and sometimes get the act, sometimes get the act right yourself. That's how you keep the balance, man. You know what I mean? I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, bro.
Yeah.
At one of the most challenging times to grow up in South Central Los Angeles. It was rampant with gangs and drugs and crooked LAPD scandals and pimps and hoes and turf wars and race wars and the whole nine. And trust me, man, if you didn't have some act right from time to time, it would have been way more of a war zone than it actually was. So
it kind of like regulated itself, right? The laws of the jungle.
That's how it is. And it's funny because that was the neighborhood. It was the jungles.
I want to see you play.
I can't play that again, though. We already done that.
It's such a good song, though, man. It's such a good song.
I remember, like, they came out, they were so raw dog. They got banned on MTV for that song.
Is that right?
Yeah. That just shows you how much times have changed, right? Yeah, when that Guns N' Roses, first they were only playing it like late at night because they thought the video was too suggestive or raunchy for like a younger audience. This is MTV, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, then they just banned it all together. They banned Andrew Dice Clay. Like,
I remember that.
Yeah. Whole bunch of stuff. So just crazy stuff. It's funny that you mentioned like about the corrupt police, man. Because I remember NWA catching flack because they were doing those skits, and then they had the song like "Fuck the Police," and they were talking to Dre, and he was just like, "Man, look, we're just the CNN of the streets." And for us on this podcast, I feel like we're just the CNN for dudes.
Man, it's
like we're trying to save dudes from dudes, man. If you want to know like what the ethos of this podcast is, we're trying to get dudes to act right. Like if you're a dude watching this podcast, like you should be taking tidbits from us because, you know, each of us are our own authentic individuals and we kind of live our life to the fullest capabilities.
Yeah.
Without an authority, so to speak, like kind of regulating our days. Like, that's right, baby. Quit pulling my motherfucking hair. Why are you pulling my motherfucking hair? Yeah, but like, you know, when people say, "Oh, you wear suits," and I'm like, I wear suits because I want to wear suits.
Right.
You know, I'm Mike Lowry. You know, so but yeah, so I think if you're a dude watching this, man, if you're offended by this, good. That means we're striking a chord, right? If you're a young buck and maybe you ain't been through some experiences, do like Bismarck, who was the Chancellor of Germany, said, you know, don't learn from your mistakes. Learn from our mistakes.
I love that.
Like, look, you don't want to be Jesus getting nailed to the cross. Nah, you don't want to feel that nail penetrating the skin. Okay. Yep. That shit's, I got to imagine that's not fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just go ahead and, you know, leave that one for one. And I'm going to like not want to experience that shit. You ain't got to tell me that hurts.
That was great.
You know, or for me to go through that for it to hurt.
And word to Biz Marquis, that boy's going off. That was a nice tie-in.
I love it.
The Biz never sleeps.
It never sleeps, man. 24/7, 365, son.
That was good there. What's been cracking, Kiko? How's the married life?
It's good. It's good. You know, last podcast, episode 7. Yeah, we were talking about books. So I've been reading my book, The Inner Work.
How's that going?
I'm afraid to ask because last time he was just like, I don't know, I just started.
Well, I'm on chapter 2. I'm a slow reader, man, but it's had some game, bro.
That's good.
And I'm just here, like, listening to you guys talking about people getting offended, people getting triggered, and all these things. And the book addresses a lot of that, where if you feel that way, you feel offended about something, like, find that curiosity to find out what's triggering you. Because that's like leading to something else, whether it's some sort of insecurity, maybe it's like a deep wound that you had from like not being good enough and all those things. So it's just like so many things that helps me like sort of peel away from the layers and find out like who I am.
Yeah.
So like I've always had a bad temper, and so like getting triggered wasn't no thing for me. You know what I mean? I would just get mad over like dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so like even as an adult, now I have to like evaluate those feelings and see where they're coming from. And the beautiful thing about it is like the coolest story that's unfolding is just like finding out who I am.
You've been doing a good job of that. The underside of the tapestry, you know? So who are you?
Still finding out.
Yeah.
Work in process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Lots of healing.
Yeah.
For sure.
But you gotta want to have that journey, right?
You have to have that subconscious like agreement, like I'm doing this.
You got to get to a point in life where life means a little bit more, having that profound understanding of who you are and why you're here and what your contribution should be, right?
Yeah, you want to be useful in this life.
That's important,
right?
Man.
That's what Charlie Munger wanted on his tombstone. But he just said, hopefully I was like useful in this life. And that's kind of like where you're ascending to. I'm a big advocate of like, you're entitled to your work, but you're not entitled to like the fruits of your labor. They may or may not come, right? But what I'm saying is like, you're also entitled to your moral duty, right? And your moral duty may or may not bring you necessary good, but it may bring somebody else some good because you served a higher purpose, like Harris is talking about. So an example would be, you know, a kid drowning in a pool, and maybe you can't swim, but you know, you launched yourself into the pool to save the drowning kid, and maybe you die in the process, but you did a good act. But the consequences weren't necessarily good for you, but it benefited society. You know, so I think that's a higher level of self-actualization on top of, I think you sent those notes of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's self-actualization is where
that's the top of the top, baby.
Yeah, where you extend beyond yourself. You're beyond your material needs. You have this spiritual enlightenment where you start to figure out, what is my purpose? What is my role? How can I serve? How can I be useful? But it's a working process. You know, we're constantly, but the beautiful thing is that you've accepted this and said, you know what? I have some faults, you know, I need to work on these, things that are plaguing me, and I'm willing to get better. So there's an open-mindedness to it that a lot of people don't possess. You know, we've talked about this. I think we're all we've radically improved in the last 5 years from when we first started. You know, our first incarnation of our podcast to where we are now. I mean, you're a father now.
Yeah.
Twice over.
Yeah.
You know,
and I've always based my happiness on like external things, whether it was like, I don't know, a certain level of success in my life.
But that's part of the Maslow.
Yeah.
Right. That's part of the Maslow. You're like, you know, when you hit that material possession need, I mean, I still do that.
Yeah.
It's because you're now able to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just part of the process. And then eventually that starts to dissipate in terms of like the value that you place on it. Because what's that passage from the Bible where it's like, you know, your heart is where your treasure's at. Right. So what do you treasure? And that's where your heart's going to be.
It's interesting how
Jesus Christo,
as we mature in age and how we start to have these existential conversations with ourselves and then with our communities, and then, you know, what the purpose of life is and what is love, and you know, do I deserve to be happy? And it's for me, it's a profound thing, you know, when you sit back and take time to create stillness and to reflect, you know. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, but I think there's a right or wrong approach to it, because if you aren't asking yourself those questions, I think you're not living to your truest potential or to your purpose, which isn't serving anybody else, right, other than yourself.
Yeah, and if you want to be useful, you got to make sure you're in tune with those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah. That's good. Thanks for sharing that. I got to check that book out.
Like even now, like, you know, I'm monitoring my emotions, and like even at like the smallest things, like, you know, like an encounter could be like, why am I feeling anxious? You know? And why is this guy at the gym like make me feel anxious for some reason? You know what I mean? Like, like why does this guy bother me? You know, like, or that personal trainer that came up to me, like, why am I judging this dude? This dude's just coming in here just to make some money, just like I did, you know? And I'm over here thinking I'm too good to be like taught, you know, anything new. And so, like, I really had to question those things.
No, fuck that trainer, man. That dude's one of those classic fucking trainers that's fucking swole, that never sold dick in the gym. Man, those dudes are a fucking dime a dozen, and that dude can't see fucking past his nose. I could just tell you that right now. Yeah. Like, I've seen that dude operate. Now, I don't know him from Adam, but I can tell you, like, for the most part, that dude checks the box of a fucking douchebag trainer.
Oh, my God. But I did actually
You had a right to be anxious, and you should have kicked him in his nuts.
I did talk to him, and he seemed like he had a good personality. You know what I mean?
Oh, my goodness.
Outside
man,
of that
I'm just telling you, man, I've seen a lot of motherfuckers when I was working there. Like, I could tell from day one, they were not going to make it because of their approach.
Yeah. Too much flexing, right?
Well, just coming in there and thinking that just them being big was going to sell. And I'm like, bro, you're in a fucking gym where dudes are in here just fucking big.
See, that's what I'm saying. You're confronting your dark side right now.
I love it. Anakin fucking Vader. Let's go.
That's my hashtag, Anakin Skywalker. Yeah. And you see, like, the passion that it exudes.
No, I am a lot better when I'm fucking angry. I always say that.
So it's like it's using that, man, to your benefit.
It makes you strong.
There's a quote from
makes you powerful.
From Henrik.
I can feel your anger.
It says, "Our whole being is nothing but a fight against the dark forces within ourselves. To live is to war with trolls in heart and soul. To write is to sit in judgment on oneself." Confront your dark side, man. You know, we all have these like crafted public personas that accentuate our strengths and then conceals our weaknesses. But I'm like, scratch that, bump that. You know, this is who I am. You know what? Like you get to a point where you're just like, this is me, man. You know, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But I'm not changing for you. I'm not changing for them. I'm not changing for this role. I'm only changing because I'm trying to find this self-actualization. I'm chasing that, but I'm not changing. This is who I am.
You don't think there's a balance though? I mean, because I think we all kind of. I mean, I confronted it. I don't know. Maybe I don't confront it, but I experience that dark side every day, and I kind of walk that balance beam, you know, of good and bad thoughts. And I'm anxiety. I am definitely anxiety ridden, 100%. So what Luis is talking about, he experienced at the gym, man, multiply that times a factor of fucking 10, and that's me. I think everybody's out to fucking get me. I don't know why.
Well, you're self-actualizing that maybe. I don't know.
So
well, when you become,
but I convert that energy. I will say that I use that energy and convert it into some constructive process, which is me working out at the gym, you know, and going Zeke Elliott.
Hey man, I think you gotta let it out. Sometimes it may lead to destructive behavior, but you know, I think it's a.
You think it's healthy at the end of the day?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think it wards off depression and anxiety.
If they hate
I would say that's a fair statement.
I think that depression and anxiety comes from like you know, feeling like you have to be terribly nice and pleasant all the time.
Man, look, you're hitting the nail on the head, because I went through an experience with a client yesterday, and I'm really just. It's not even about the money. Like, I want to fire him.
Yeah.
Because I'm so insulted by him yesterday about, you know, there was an incident that took place with his staff and me. And the way he was trying to correct me like I was a child after I had implemented like all these procedures.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Like it took, like I was at Lifetime yesterday going to check out the new workspace. And I had to step outside because I'm on this phone MFing this guy. And the guy, Butch, that's selling those spaces comes out. He sees me on the phone. He just walks back in. He's like, fuck that, I'm good. I'll wait. And so we don't have a resolution yet, because I just told him, like, we really need to rethink this arrangement.
Yeah, man.
And to your point, like, I'm at the point where it's like I don't know if the money isn't even productive for me anymore to continue in this relationship, because I cannot work with somebody or be around somebody that feels like they're better than people.
The economists would call that the law of diminishing returns, right?
It's true.
And it requires great energy to keep that dark side at bay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you know, at times of unpleasant behavior, that's going to leak out. And
yeah.
sometimes going to leak out in the wrong way, on the wrong people, in the wrong situation.
So that's why I would say, like, yeah, when you phrase it that way, if I'm taking that dark energy and I'm channeling it at the wrong people, then I would say, like, yeah, I agree. I need to switch my paradigm, because I need to direct it at the people who, you know, are triggering it, which I also believe, like Viktor Frankl, though, I mean, you kind of can control your own emotions, though, too, and how you respond to stuff. Man, Search for Meaning, is that the book?
No doubt.
Classic. Right. Everybody should check that out.
Yeah.
That'll really put your life in perspective. You think you got it bad and you don't know how to act in situations, read that book. So yeah, I think that's very helpful, and I appreciate it.
I got a quote from Viktor Frankl.
What you got, man? I love it.
Anything can be taken from you except one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survivor.
Yeah, you know what? When he got to the concentration camps, him and his wife died the first day he was there. Think about that. You know, he had to chug his ring and forget about that whole situation. And so, yeah, man, I think that, like, that's why I resonate so much with that Anakin Skywalker character, and why that's been my hashtag since Instagram has been out. It's because I have to remind myself that when you have that chip on your shoulder, you can become the greatest power in the universe. But by the same token, that shit can destroy you. Yeah. Right? My man lost his legs. Yeah. He lost his arms. He lost his old lady.
Yep.
His kid killed him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you got to have that balance, but you can't forget about that. You know, it's got to be like, you know, a helium balloon. You know what I mean? You don't want it to pop. You want it to be just right.
I'm just ecstatic that we got 2 Star Wars drops today, man.
Yeah,
so,
man.
I mean, that was a great podcast.
Why not?
Shout out to George Lucas, man. You know, it's one of my greatest thrills of my life, being a Star Wars geek. So.
I love it, man. Where we at? Are we closing? Are you closing this up?
Oh, we got to close up with something. We can't close up just by saying we're going to close up. I mean, how do you want to close up?
Oh, shoot.
Hey, what you got to close up? I mean,
I don't know.
To close up.
Yeah, what you got?
Closing time. What's that song?
Yeah,
I don't know. I ain't heard that song in a long time.
Yeah,
you know,
Semisonic. Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to sing that when I worked at
Closing time.
This bump to you, like knowing exactly what that was.
Semisonic. Well, it's because we used to
to
sing it all the time when I worked at a coffee shop.
That's one hit
it was
wonder
closing
right there,
time.
man.
Y'all gotta go. We over here closing up shop.
One hit wonder is better than the no hit wonder, right?
Right. I mean, because you could be like Vanilla Ice and just live off of that forever. The royalties, man, off of that song is just insane, right?
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, you want to talk about life. Life is life. I don't try to anthropomorphize it. I don't know if I'm saying that right in terms of like good or bad, because life itself doesn't know necessarily good or bad. Things just kind of are. So I look at like, you know, you might be out there hustling. You might own your own restaurant. You might own your own laundry. You might be putting in 50 hours, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And you might be doing it for 30 years straight and you're barely scratching a living. And then you got Vanilla Ice in his early 20s. Dude produces one hit and he's eating for the next 40, 50, 60 for the rest of his life.
Man.
That's not, is that fair? Is it not fair? It don't matter. It just is.
It is what it is.
It just is. And so maybe you're just doing and chasing the wrong white rabbit, you know? So
I don't know.
Turn off the lights,
and I glow.
To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance.
Didn't he get sued from Queen?
Yeah, but he was like, you remember how he tried to differentiate between the two beats?
He was like, doom.
I was leaving the infrared sauna studio today, and the gal there was like, "Ooh, Mark, I've been waiting to see you. Somebody must have really pissed you off." I said, "Pissed me off? Why you say that?" They're like, "Well, I saw your most recent post on Instagram," and she was like, "You know what's great about you?" She's like, "Even when you say fuck you to somebody, you do it in the most tactful way possible." And it was this quote from Andy Andrews, and it says, and this is to you guys who feel like you have to live under a rock because you have all of these people saying that you can't do anything. Like Dupree said, they don't want to, well, how's it go? They don't want to help you. They don't want to hold you back. They don't even want to get out of your way.
You got they don't want lead, follow, or help. They just want to stand in the way and tell you why you can't do something.
To some of those people, right? Say this. Those who are critical of my goals and dreams simply do not understand the higher purpose to which I have been called. Therefore, their scorn does not affect my attitude or action. I forgive their lack of vision and I forge ahead. I know now that criticism is part of the price paid for leaping past mediocrity. So keep that in mind, you know.
On that note,
think about it and go get it.
Before it gets got.
Peace.
Camera's still rolling. I want to make sure we still get like,
we
get like the marrow on the bone, like post conversation.
Yeah, just keep it rolling.
That felt great.
So that wasn't too bad. We didn't. There was no nasty either.
No, there wasn't.
I mean, there was F-bombs, but there was no like Chris Rock talking about, you know, put a dick in your mouth. Put a dick in. I mean, we're saying it now. There was no yin yang twins.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like this is a different episode.
I know. I think that's the hallmark of the show is that we don't have a lane per se. You know, sometimes we want to be in the carpool. Sometimes we might want to be far right. Sometimes we may want to be in the middle.
It's true.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what is going to resonate.
Can't
most
be pigeonholed, man.
With people who are looking for something to kind of hang on to. And I think our greatness lies in the fact that even though we're not the common man per se, we attract the common man. We have been the common men before, and common men and women are going to be attracted to us because we're speaking in lay. We're not talking over people. We're not talking at people. We're talking with them. It's like a conversation.
That was like the strength of Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Because he was able to take complex topics and simplify it so that the average person could understand it.
Yep.
You know, that was his genius, and that's what I think our genius is. You know, and I look at it, but it's an authentic experience. Like, we're not Jordan Peterson, because I'm not a scholar at that level, and I haven't done 40 years of reading all the classics and writing books and stuff like that. But I know life. You know life. You know life. And we've all experienced success in our own pursuits, in our own way that we pursue things, you know? And so I think it does resonate like what you're talking about and how it's going to become like a mimetic desire.
Yeah.
That other guys are going to be like, oh shit, I don't have to be a billionaire to be successful. Now, I'll take $1 billion.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I would take $1 billion. I don't know if I'll get there. I mean, I'm never going to stop trying.
Right.
But the point is like, you can be happy. You can be successful without having $1 billion in the bank. Because I think, now I want to be these guys though too. But I think if you talk to any person that has a bunch of money, they'll tell you that, you know, money doesn't bring you happiness. And, you know, that stuff gets old really fast. Well, let me experience that.
Yeah.
For one. But for two, I understand because we're talking about how Weezy's talking about self-improvement and you get to that self-actualization stage. So I got to imagine like, we're talking about Jeff Bezos. Like, I don't know if he still gets excited about seeing like a brand new yacht. You know, I don't know if he still gets excited about a G6. You know, Weezy was talking about he still washes his dishes.
Me too.
Yeah. Right? Me too. Because Weezy came over, he's like, hey man, your house smells really good. This was the impetus of the conversation. He's like, do you enjoy, you know, cleaning the place up? And I was like, well, I never want anybody to come over here and have a dirty place, you know, for one. For two. And I was like, yeah, I guess I do. Because I think it creates like a mindset. Like if you're not good enough to clean your own place, you know, then that you're taking that into public.
They say a lot about you.
Yeah, for sure.
And to his point about Viktor Frankl, I mean, he had to learn how to find happiness in the most hellish of environments, right? So if that could be done, right?
That's what I'm saying.
You could be very happy with $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $1 million a year.
Great tie-in. That's a great tie-in to what we're talking about. True. If like, you could find happiness in a concentration camp to the point to where it actually impacted the Nazi guards.
Yeah, man.
Like they could feel that.
That's
like his energy.
It gets to what we were talking about a moment ago with the law of diminishing returns. Like, is it worth me working X amount to miss out on all of these opportunities for the fact that I could be one of the richest men ever?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, to the point that you're talking about, like if you've seen a mega yacht, seeing another mega yacht, you know what I mean? If you've had the best of the best, you slept with the best.
It's like Paul Wilkes.
Yeah, man.
You know how much pussy that guy saw? He got to the point where he's just like fucking going to the green door, doing fucking partner swaps. And he's seen pussy every day because he was an OBGYN.
Yeah.
You know, just doing weird shit, right? Because to him, it was just like, you know, at a vulgar level, it was just like, it's all the same. Like, you've seen one, you've seen them all, right?
That's what I mean, man. So, yeah, I think that, you know, it's just a state of being.
He pulled out my baby.
Yeah.
He's pulled out a lot of babies, man. Like, my childhood friend that I grew up across the street, he pulled out his baby, dude. So, yeah, he did. But, man, he used to tell the craziest stories. But
that reminds me of the Friends episode when Jennifer Aniston was dating the OBGYN.
I've never seen Friends.
Well, like, there's an episode where she was wondering why he didn't want to have sex with her. And she worked at a coffee shop, and he was telling her, like, you know, after the end of the day, you know, the last thing you want to do is just
drink coffee
or put another cup of coffee away. Yeah. That's kind of like how I feel about that.
That's actually pretty funny. That's pretty clever, man.
Yeah, if you got to watch one episode, watch that.
You know what? I think I like just not being a part of that community. And I think I like it more now that it like shocks people that I've never seen it.
Yeah.
So I probably will never watch an episode.
Yeah, no, I guess
Same thing with Seinfeld. I've never seen Seinfeld.
I've never really
either.
seen Seinfeld.
But I have seen Curb Your Enthusiasm, and that shit is fucking funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
That show is, I mean,
Larry David.
He is something else.
Yeah,
man.
he has some
They
funny
got
stuff.
they got the 12th season about to start. The 12th and final season of the show.
I haven't watched it in a couple of years. That was like appointment television for us for a minute. Yeah, it's on HBO.
Oh, okay.
Dude, he's so funny.
He's a genius. Well, he was a writer for Seinfeld though. So there's a tie-in there. Yeah. So maybe you need to watch Seinfeld to get some more Larry David fucking comedy.
It's him.
So it's a badge of courage.
It's him, you know.
A badge of honor. Like if it was like none of us having a tattoo.
Yeah.
I would never get a tattoo now.
Yeah, at this point.
You know?
This doesn't make sense, right?
I was watching like Sauce Gardner and he got a tattoo with a fucking cross on his neck. I'm like, is that for you or for us?
I don't know, man.
Like that shit should be if it's on your heart, you're like literally like on your heart, like why you need to express it to us. I mean, I go back to like these Bible thumpers, and it's like, you know, there's a passage of Jesus talk about, you know, what you do in public, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like God knows what you do in private.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's a great point. I think that's the thing that I was hinting at with regard to continually chasing these highs. And looking at trying to get to different successes financially is because like you're always going to be chasing something that's going to bring you some clout, some attention, right, until it doesn't. Like, like I got to a point where like I can down a whole bottle of 42 myself and it don't really make me feel nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you get to that point with anything, right?
Oh, for sure. So you remember the movie Chariots of Fire?
Uh-huh.
Like once the guy won the race, he had nothing else to ascend to. Like he was miserable because there was nothing else. And so they're like, I can't remember what podcast I was listening to the other day ago. They're talking about that, do you want to finish it? And then you've reached that climax to where there's nothing else for you to do. There's nothing else for you to chase. There's no more mountains for you to climb and you just feel like you're empty, or maybe finish second or third because you still feel like, there's a challenge left.
That's what I'm saying, man. How many people retire and then in 3 months they die? You know what I mean? It happens all the freaking
time. Turner, they asked Ted Turner back in the day, why do you keep working? He said, because all my friends that retired around me died.
It's the truth, man. Like us, especially.
Because they have nothing else to live for.
Especially guys like us, the way that we're wired, man. I think it's important to aspire to like want to be more, to have more, to do more. Like that's a healthy thing. But like I feel like it should not be like Rudolph. It should be like Blitzen. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be leading. It shouldn't be leading the charge.
Yeah.
It should definitely be something that motivates you, inspires you to wake up at 4:45. You know what I mean? And go start your morning routine, whatever the case may be. But I have doubts about having the Rudolph spot. With those things because at the end of the day, like that shit don't matter. If something happened with the global economy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something happened with the US dollar, you know what I mean? Like who gives a fuck? Unless you got that in gold as well.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like precious metals ain't going out of style.
Nope.
But this fucking paper, they just, printing this shit. You know what I mean? There's nothing behind it anymore. So
just a gun.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, it's like, why am I I have to remind myself of that. It's like, what's wrong with me today? And why is the ego in the driver's seat? What am I missing here? Why do I feel like my comparative mindset is turned on? Why do I feel like I need X, Y, and Z to feel like my life has purpose?
Like to validate you.
Yeah, when I don't, bro. Like we didn't have, a lifetime's worth of experience, achievements, failures, disappointments, and all of the sort. Yet, we're still living by our own beat of our own drum. And I think to me, like that is the most powerful thing. That's what I will continue to wake up to continue to fight for, is having that freedom of time, right? Freedom of association, right? Freedom of fill in the blank, because I know what it was like before. For a motherfucker to say I got to be here at 9 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? And I'm all right with that. I don't have a problem. Like I got a great work ethic, but it's just you always got inferior motherfuckers trying to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
It'd be different if if you were the boss or if you were the boss. That'd be different for me. But that's never been the case for me as an employee, as a W-2 employee. It's always been the person who, like, not to exalt myself, but the person that wants to be more like me.
Uh-huh. Or they're just envious of you. Yeah. And you got to deal with all those human emotions, and it's...
right place, right time type situation, motherfuckers. Nepotism type motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Not motherfuckers that then paid their dues to get where they wanted to be. They just had the right association.
Right time, right place, right people, the juice. Know the ledge.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Eric B. and Rakim.
Know the ledge.
This was good, man. I think that what I wanted to do, I wanted to come in today and just like find the flow. And I think that's the next iteration for us. Like it's important, I think, to have like our scribes or whatever. But what I would like is to have high level conversation around high level topics and it be truly spur of the moment.
No, for sure.
And
it has to be raw, dude.
Yeah. And that's what I want to work. That's the muscle I want to work.
But I also think we still need to because we're also trying to sell though too. Yeah. I mean, we want to, we'd be lying to ourselves if we said we don't want to monetize this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of me is I've been thinking about myself and I'm like, I got to drive that controversy lane. Yeah. I got to be that person that stirs the pot just a little bit. I want people to tune in and be like, oh, what's that fucking dude going to say this episode? You know what I mean? What's going to come out of his mouth, So that's the kind of the angle I'm going for myself, is to be that person. So that way there's like some level of consistency. Like people are tuning into a show, but I'm still being myself.
Yeah.
You know,
hey, man.
I think so. I think what you're saying, you know, we're still being ourselves, but I'm also, I think people have to, when they're watching, they're going to want to see like what we're going to do and if we're going to perform to our standards that we've set from prior episodes.
Yeah.
You know, but I like what you're saying in terms of the high level conversations, but distilling it in a matter where it's like we simplify it for like the regular dude.
Yep.
You know, because what this podcast is for, it's really for the regular dudes. The girls will watch just because selling weed's like, we're all fit, we're all pretty good looking guys, you know, we're all relatively smart and we're all relatively successful.
Yep.
You know, I mean, people are going to watch just for that.
Yeah.
You know, and they know we're not booty shakers.
Nah.
You know?
And I think it gives people like that verve to, you know, again, want to like chase their own wild rabbits.
That's it, man.
The thing about it is, and that's the way I look at it when I watch us in the playback, I'm thinking like, this is actually, I believe that it's inspiring somebody to do something creative in their pursuits in life.
That would be our self-actualization of this podcast.
And for me, like, honestly, like that's what I want. I want to inspire people. You know what the cool thing is? Like I got this in the mail the other day from a young guy I used to train. He was 10 years old.
Damn.
Look what he sent me. Man, it almost made me cry, man, when I got that.
That's awesome, dude.
Like, hey, man, I just want to thank you, you know, for all of the.
That's really cool.
You instilled in me.
Yeah.
I haven't forgot all the stuff we talked about when you were training me, and you know, and I just wanted you to know I followed through, and
That's awesome.
I've graduated now.
That's awesome.
Dude, you know how fucking powerful that is?
That's very powerful.
And that's it. That's it. For me, that's the end game, is just to improve the fabric of my community, you know, one person at a time. That's
beautiful.
That's
man.
that OTM S right there, boy. So yeah.
Oh man.
Good job, fellas.
Yeah, all right. Working process, man. A little bit each time, right?
Yes, sir.
What you got going on tonight?
I got a 15-mile run tomorrow.